Finally, the summer has struck in England and we have made it out onto the golf course and putting into practice a lot of the details that I've spoken about at great lengths on my channel. Today I want to talk to you about pitching. For many, pitching is a scary business. Lots of mistruths of how we should be playing pitch shots, and today I wanted to just get ourselves on the grass, play a 40, 50, 60, 70 yard pitch shot and just give you some insights into what you might want to be thinking about to play these shots to the best of your ability. We've got 60 yards here to the middle of the green. You can see at Horn here, it's a pretty flat lie and it's a pretty flat green. Offers up a great opportunity to practice some really solid pitching off of grass. Not many places in the UK can offer this up, but Horn Park down in Godstone, do go check them out on the website, give them a good shout out. It's a great facility, 9 holes, my Golf Academy coaching here. We've got an indoor TrackMan bay as well, so do go check them out. The pitching is a shot that shouldn't be as difficult as we all make it out to be. I'm just going to play a couple here just to loosen the old cobwebs off, and I'm obviously looking for some nice early contacts. Even though we've had about 3 days of good weather, we are already experiencing some firmness in the ground, and the balls are having a bit of a bounce up on the green there. I've got myself a 54-degree wedge. I carry a 58, a 54 and a 50. The reason why I carry those numbers is that I believe that the 58 is more of a bunker club for me. The 54 is anything up to 110 yards, and then my 50-degree wedge is up to about 125, 130. When we're playing pitch shots, the biggest key that we've all been taught is speed through strike. Turn the chest through strike. Now, how we experience speed can be different for everyone. And that speed down at the bottom, especially if you start to get a few fluffers, you hit a few fat ones or a few thin ones, before you know it, you can't really find the bottom of your arc. So what I want to talk to you about today is how do we find the bottom of the arc first of all. And there's a lot that's been spoken about when it comes to bounce of the golf club. Just remember that when the shaft is in line with the club head and the face is square, you've got about, again, depending on the type of golf club you've got, you could have anything between 8 and 14 degrees of bounce. So you don't need to go laying this shaft open, this face open too much to have any bounce at all. You can just keep the face square and you'll have plenty of bounce. So with that in mind, we want to really sense that shaft lean can be our friend. Yeah, we've talked about, and you will have heard, that if you have shaft lean in a pitch shot, the last thing that that's going to do for you is help contact. Well, if you go out on the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour, I can assure you that guys and girls out there are all leaning their shafts forwards and using the leading edge of the golf club because it makes them feel like they can pinch the golf ball. How we use our levers in a pitch shot will ultimately allow us to feel like we can get speed, we can get angle of attack, and we can get flight. Angle of attack is the ingredient that makes us feel like we can actually get into the back of the golf ball. Now, with a lot of golfers, because of the amount of bounce that they've tried to use, we get this golf club really unloading too hard because people have all been trying to work with the shaft in a straight line. We need to understand that the ball in the position in your stance and how you use your levers will dictate that angle of attack, that loft angle, and the spin rate that you're going to get on the shot. So as I talk about ball position here just first up, the more I put the ball further forwards, of course, the more opportunity, if the golf club is unloading, and a good video to go watch, check it out in the top right hand corner, is my angle of attack video. If you are understanding that we get the pull and the unload down at strike here, the more that ball shifts further forwards in the stance, the more we will start to see that launch will start to come at us. So the ball will start to pop a little bit higher and the ball will come out a little bit softer. And I'm feeling that that ball position in conjunction with the pull and the unload is giving me the opportunity to really get that angle of attack super shallow down at strike and really encourage as much loft as possible at contact. To play that kind of shot, we have to have obviously a decent lie. Now as I start to move the ball further back in our stance, obviously I can still apply the same pull, but we now need to understand that that is going to encourage the face to be a little bit more open, because when we have more acceleration with the handle, we will create more angle of attack, but what we will also do is then start to point the face a little bit too much to the right. And so as we start to pull, if you've watched enough of my videos on leg action, we'll start to feel how the lower half starts to open up and the right shoulder start to come around. Now, the earlier that you do that in conjunction with the pull, now you have a chance of squaring the face up. So without having to feel like you bow your left wrist or change the face angle, just by putting the ball a bit further back in your stance, and when you pull, you feel like you unravel a little bit sooner, all of a sudden we end up with a golf shot that comes out lower and more forwards. So a very different ball flight, but a very different ecosystem of how I'm using my levers and how I'm using my body. So I'm just going to show you the high one again. Far less in the way of body action. There's the pull, there's the swing. Far less in the way of body action, but way more flight. So body action was much quieter, but I did pull and I did swing. Compared to the second one where we're coming out lower, where I'm going to now pull, and as I start pulling, I'm really accelerating the left hip and the right shoulder. So now I feel like I've got more shaft lean, but I've only got more shaft lean because I've kept the pull with the pressure down and I've moved around the shot. So the ball goes a bit further back in my stance to allow me to meet it earlier in the circle. I pull, there's the load. I use my left leg to now move myself around, and you can see I'm going to arrive with quite a lot less loft, and I'm going to have to open myself up to get the face coming out straight. Way more diggy, way more leading edge. If you're tired of paying too much for premium leather golf gloves, do head over and check out my channel sponsor, GX Golf Gloves. These gloves are trusted by elite, amateurs and tour players. Use my code, good coaching, to receive 10% on your next order. Now, of course, the one that sits in between that, the shot that sits in between that is obviously a balancing act of pull and unload with the body that then allows the club to swing down at the bottom. That would be my stock pitch. But I'm always very mindful of the fact of how I'm trying to pull and swing in conjunction with my body. So pull, swing, open body, pull, swing, open body. So ball's more in the middle of my stance. Now I'm going to balance out the two swings. So I had the pull, I had the swing, I had the body action, and that was a mid-flighted pitch shot. These are all from 50, 60, 70 yards with a 54-degree wedge, and I'm just giving you some real insight into how the levers and the body work together down at strike to create the flight variation that you need to see as a golfer. Leg action is crucial for pitching. We need to feel like the body is lifting up, because as the leg action lifts up, as the left leg lifts up, it really opens up the chest and really allows the handle to travel around. And when that handle starts to travel around like that, you really start to get the sense that that club head is arcing in to in. But it's the right side of the body that I'm really interested in mobilizing through the left side of the body. The left side of the body is mobilizing the right side of the body in an effort to give me some exquisite control down here of whether I'm going to hit a low one, mid one or high flight. I think you'll find that pitching is an area of the game that if you can really start to see the commonalities that run through, whether you're playing a 5-iron, whether you're playing a 9-iron, a driver, they're all the same. It's just a balancing act of the lever system and how you're using yourself to make that work for you where you're striking the golf ball. If you've had any thoughts, do drop them in the comments below. I always answer any of your questions. And while you're here, do consider subscribing. I'd really love to keep growing this channel and keep bringing you the best content I can make. But I think you'll find, as usual, that, my friends, in the sunshine of Sussex, that's good coaching.